Hello, I'm Nathan, and this is the first in a series of podcasts from the University of Cumbria on network routing. Later we'll explain protocols like RIP, EIGRP and OSPF, but first we're going to talk about static routing. Static routing forwards traffic based on rules chosen by the network administrator, in contrast to dynamic protocols, which try to determine the best route. The destination network and next hop are simply stored in a routing table. Static routing is therefore best used in a small or a simple network.
Before we can set up static routing, we need to get our hardware ready. For this scenario, all we need to do is connect a serial cable to each router. We're also going to temporarily connect a computer to this router using its console port, so that we can configure it in a moment. You could also telnet to it if you wanted. In a typical setup, these two routers would likely be located in separate offices and connected over a leased line. Since they're both here, we're just going to connect them directly to each other. So we're connected to router A. The first thing we need to do is set up our interfaces. So configure terminal. Select our serial interface. So we've got our serial interface and IP address. We want to give our loopback address and IP address. So there we go. The interfaces on router A are configured now. Let's switch to router B and do the same thing. So enable config T. So I've told the serial interface its IP address and subnet mask. We'll give the loopback interface its own. Okay, there we go. So now what we can do is ping across that serial interface to check that we can actually make a connection. So let's go ahead and do that. Want to ping 192.168.1.1, which is the IP address of the router, router A, and as you can see it's worked. But if we try to ping the loopback address on that other router, it's not going to work, because the traffic does not know how to get there, because we haven't yet set up static routing. So let's try that. 172.16.1.1. And it will eventually time out. So we'll switch back to router A here. And you can see that likewise router A cannot connect to the loopback address on router B. So let's set up static routing now. So the command is iproute the destination network, its subnet mask, and the interface that you want to send the traffic out of. You can either use an interface or an IP address if you like. I'm just going to use the serial interface. And if we come back out now, I should be able to ping successfully. So there you go. That's setting up static routing on Cisco iOS.